All right. I have Miss Cristina Gonzalez with me today, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself and we're going to dive right in.
Awesome. Hi, I am Cristina Gonzalez and I am the Curvy Girl Dating Coach. I am a coach for women who are interested in going in dating and embracing their body, their self love, and getting out and being like a confident woman that's dating.
Yeah. I felt like I had to wear a dress, not that I'm going on a date with you, but I felt like if this is what we were talking about, I needed to, dress the part today. So
Yeah.
I'm sure if my husband comes home, he'll be like, "What in the world are you wearing?" But I'm
Well,
wearing
you
it.
can go on a date with him later.
I sometimes I like dating myself. Heck.
Right.
Okay. So how did you get started in this? Because that is like very specific dating and specifically for curvy girls. So it drew my interest right away. But how did you get started as a coach for curvy girls dating?
I was my own first client. I was single and plus size for 10 years. And it was at a very critical time in my life when it was like I broke up with a boyfriend at 27 years old. And I had this panic of like, oh my gosh, I have to start over. And by 30, I need to find somebody to date, find somebody that likes me, get into a relationship, get married by 30, have kids by this, like I had
Yeah.
this like story of what I had to do. And so,
Timeline.
yeah, exactly. And it's like it could not veer from any of that,
Hmm.
And so I just put a lot of pressure on myself. And I think I call it dating desperately. And
Hmm.
just because it's just like eager, you're dating anybody, you're way too open minded, you don't have a checklist, you just want anybody to like date. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, but it's just like getting out there and not really focusing on what you're looking for and just, you know, the going crazy, right? So I just really struggled with that. And then finally I started kind of like creating boundaries and looking at what I really wanted and learning about myself and like taking some time. Like I hit 30 and I was like, all right, well, I guess I gotta try something, and like try something different because it wasn't working. And slowly but surely things started working out better for me. And like I just ended up becoming like a different person. But I got into it because I just had some really bad days sometimes. And I don't ever want anyone to feel that way. Like I knew that I was a catch, like I have a good job, I have my own house, I have like a great car, I went to school, like I did this and did that. Like I have everything going on. So why has nobody want to date me? Like and be in a relationship with me? What's going on? So I always assumed it was about my weight, and I made it mean like this is my weight. Like I have to lose weight now because nobody's gonna like me at this size. Like because I have everything else that's amazing. So this must be it, and I just don't want anybody to feel that way. And like it's just not true. And it's a horrible feeling to feel and it's very lonely. So yeah, like I just that was really important for me to help women,
Now,
you
did
know.
you always have that in your head, like, I am a catch? Or did that kind of evolve with some of your own self coaching, your own first client kind of thing?
I think I think it was like a little bit of self coaching, but I didn't. It wasn't like I was like, here, let's self coach. I'm a catch. It was just like, well, I don't, just by looking at like what's wrong with me, like because nobody would want to date me and be like, well, what's wrong with me? Like I need to fix it. I need to do something else for other people.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me because I'm awesome. So like I finally ended up just taking like a look at myself and I'm like, these are all the check marks of people that like what I'm expecting or what I want from somebody. So I'm meeting somebody's checklist because I'm meeting my own. So why does, what's going on? So I think it finally just kind of popped in my head when I was taking like a deep dive into myself.
It sounds like you went from just like dating to be doing it to dating with a purpose. Like, and the purpose is what do
Exactly.
you want?
Exactly. Yeah. Like that was just a whole evolution of, just self growth.
Yeah.
So yeah, like and that's what I teach my clients. It's like date with a purpose, like not just dating crazy. Like I call it like again, dating
Dating
really
desperately.
desperately. Yeah. So you really want to date with a purpose. And like there's this like a good thought switch of like just like I get to date who I want and I get to
Mhm.
choose instead of like, like nobody wants me, nobody, like I'm going on these dates and people are taking advantage of me or whatever. It's like, no, you get to choose. So like if somebody don't let somebody be accessible to you that you don't want them to, or if they're
Mhm.
not interested, don't let them have access to you.
Yeah.
So I think there was just some thoughts that I had to like get my control and my power back about myself, and it
Mhm.
took a lot. It took some time. It took
Yeah.
10 years.
So I work with women specifically with weight loss.
Uh-huh.
And so many times they don't realize, but like if they're not achieving something, so kind of like with your checklist, like house, car, family, whatever, like, or if that what they're doing for other people or career, or sometimes they over exercise kind of thing in that
Mhm,
achievement world, then it goes back to their worth. So like
mhm.
their worth is not worth, they're not worthy enough if they're not achieving, whether it's all the check boxes, that you mentioned, or
Right,
whatever they're thinking in their head. And then just like you said, they're like, well, it must be my weight. That's the thing that's holding me back.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's just like, and like, just, I wouldn't say like, okay, like with the achieving part, like you can, like achieving things are great and everything, but like you
Mm-hmm.
can be achieving, and it's almost like buffering
Mm-hmm.
because you're not like you want something, but you're like, I need to do this first. I have to get this first. I have to, and it's like avoiding dating. So it's like you kind of have to like have a good
Explain
balance.
that buffering just in case someone's not in
Oh,
the coach
okay.
realm.
So buffering is when you do all these things, like when you have a goal that you want
Mm-hmm.
and you do all these things around it and you don't really actually take care of the goal. Like you don't actually like just meet the goal. So if you're like, okay, yeah, I'm dating and I want to go out to date. So I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go, lose weight. I'm going to go out with my friends. But you like go out with your friends and you don't like engage in meeting other people or talking to other people. You just like stay with your girlfriends, like don't look around, like only carry conversations with them. And then you go home and you're like, well, I went out and I didn't like nothing's working. So it's like you're buffering because like you're avoiding it even though
Yeah.
you think you're trying. Does that
Doing
make sense?
lots of things, but avoiding the real thing you want done.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can imagine, I've been married for a long time.
Yeah.
So, but I can imagine, I have friends, I have clients, I have women that I talk with, but what would be some different challenges that maybe a curvy girl either experiences or like self imposes, or either or?
Well, I know a lot of times with like online dating profiles, like, when you coach with me, like whether you or not, like you're online dating or dating in real life, it's, whatever you want. But I know for a lot of times in online dating, and especially the experience I created for myself was, being honest about who I was, but not being completely honest about who I was. I would have current pictures and then I'd go on a date and they would say, like, oh, well, you're bigger than I thought you were. And then I'd be all mad. I'm like, well, you saw my pictures. But it's like I would like hide behind a friend or put my purse in my lap, or, when I'm taking pictures or not really showing my whole body, or, and not like on like the dating prefer like the when you're filling out like information about yourself,
Mhm.
there's like a body type, and I would put average instead of curvy, or plus size because to I didn't want to be plus size. I wanted to be average, or I was very athletic at the time. I was doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu 6 times a week and working out every day, and doing all these things. So I was like, oh well, I'm athletic because I'm an athlete, but that's not what, unfortunately, what standards are in general. You know what I mean? Like that people like the stereotypic athletic person or the stereotypic, average body type. So when men are filtering for their person by their body type preference, and I show up and then I go on a date with them and then I'm not their preference and then I get mad because I'm not their body type preference, it makes it look like it's about my weight. But it's
Mhm.
about like me not putting myself in front of the right people.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does. And you said because you didn't want to be curvy or you didn't want to be plus size. And I almost imagine
Right.
some of it is that they might even think the ladies might even think that that's not what the guy wants either.
Right,
So they can't
exactly.
put that on there. So they don't want it and they don't think the guy's going to want it. So
Right. Like I had a thought like, oh, well, my dating pool will be so much more open if I put that I'm average than if I put that I'm curvy because nobody wants to be with a curvy girl. Well,
mhm.
it's just not true. It's not
Well,
true.
and you buy stuff on Amazon and you read the review, you read the product description. And if it's not what we expect, we get mad too. And that's at
Right.
Amazon, let alone like something as important as like love and relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a big problem or a big thing that we run into. Um, like again, especially with me. And so I just think that there's a lot of like self-worth as well. Like
Mhm.
again, with the I feel lonely, I have to lose weight to be happy to go date. And just really making like staying in that story is a struggle, I think, for a lot of us plus size ladies
So
and dating.
if you're wanting to date or you're wanting to, maybe you're already in a relationship and you just so I haven't asked my husband if I could share this part yet, but I don't think he'll care. Because it's all about me. So like I have
Right.
been married for 24 years, I think. And so my math's not so good this morning, but like I thought that I wasn't good enough. So if we weren't
Right.
communicating or we weren't like doing things as often as I thought we should, whatever that means, and I would take it on like, well, I must not be attractive. I am not good enough. And it would go to my worth because I'm a
Yes.
curvy girl. And so, like, I would have all these thoughts about it.
Mhm.
And none of it had anything to do with him. And so I know how I move past it, but how would you recommend? Like, if because we said like sometimes they're already thinking that they're not good enough, they don't want the
Mhm.
curves or they don't think someone else is going to want the curves. So, how do you have your clients start working from that spot?
On that like body acceptance kind of
Mm-hmm.
like I mean really just embracing the whole body acceptance, the idea of body acceptance, like just very slowly, like changing the story that you have in your head instead of walking past a mirror and avoiding it and being like, oh my god, I look so fat, or I hate myself, or I don't like my arms, or my legs are doing this or whatever. Like just take some time, take a breath, and like say something into the mirror that you actually like about yourself. It could be your hair, it could be the
Mm-hmm.
color of your eyes, like anything, just start really small. And when you see something that you don't like yesterday, I went to a baby shower and I put on a dress, and it had like it was like kind of sleeves were like cap sleeves where you
Mm-hmm.
see my arms. Arms are not my favorite feature about my body, and I changed like 4 times, and I ended up wearing the same dress because like I I really wanted to wear the dress, and the way I thought about my arms was holding me back. And then I was just like, nobody cares about my arms. It's a baby shower, and everyone's focused on the mother and the baby and everything else. Like, who cares? So I
Mm-hmm.
had to like kind of like get myself like stop thinking so hard, you know. And I think that that's a that takes a lot of progress, you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of work into it. But I think just slowly being kind to yourself, and like just every time you catch yourself like saying something negative, to like stop and pause and give yourself like an equal balance by doing something or thinking something positive as well. And I think it just starts to become more on the positive side. And we're human and we always have something to think about that's negative, and that's okay because that's just normal.
Mm-hmm.
But catching it is really important, and offering yourself something that's like more serving for you and accepting is, I think, a good step ahead, good
So
step
instead of
forward.
trying on a new dress, try on a new sentence.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying something about your husband, like with dating, like even when you get into a relationship, like it's still there. Like the thoughts are still
Mhm.
there and there's more work to be done. Like when I started dating my boyfriend like 3 years ago, he he liked my body. He liked my body type. He would hug me and like from behind or something and like touch my stomach and I'd be like, stop it,
Mhm.
and it's because I'm uncomfortable, but he's not. Like he likes my body and and it's like I had to think about it and be like, the more that I say like my body is bad, don't look at my body, it's like maybe he's just gonna one day just be like, yeah, you're right. You don't have a nice body. So I just felt like I had to embrace what I chose to embrace my body a lot more. And I'm like, if this guy thinks I'm like a knockout, then why can't I think that too? So that was
Yeah.
really helpful to get through as well.
Well, and if he thinks it, and like you said, he could change his mind because he's starts
That's what
believing
he's
what you
hearing
say.
all the time.
But the
Yeah.
other part of it is even if he doesn't, then he's hearing you talk bad about your body and he cares so much about you. It's like
Yeah.
hearing someone that, I don't know if you've ever done this, but like if you have a friend, a girlfriend who's like just dogging on herself, and I'll be like, hey, don't talk mean to my
No.
friend. Like,
Yes,
like that's
exactly.
my friend and I love her. Don't talk mean
Yeah,
to her. And it's her talking
exactly.
to herself kind of thing. So yeah, I know how it hurts my heart to hear my friends say things like that. So I can only imagine someone in a relationship hearing you,
Yeah.
or to hear like, and I don't know, I guess when you're in a relationship, you get to decide your boundaries, how much of you give at whatever part. But
Right.
like in my head, like at some point, the idea is that's the person that you can be the most free with.
Yes.
And so if you're still holding off parts of yourself, your insecurities or your parts of your body are off limits, then not that you can't have some boundaries,
Right.
but
Yeah.
like
I
it
get it.
just shows that there's still like, I don't have that 100% openness in my relationship yet
Right.
because I'm not
And with
open with
yourself.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think I used to ask my husband all the time if we were fighting, I'd be like, it's because I'm fat, right? I'm
Mhm.
not attractive. You're just not attracted to me. And I'm
Right.
like, I am yelling at him that he's not attracted to me. So, of course,
Yes.
why would he want to be like, oh,
Attracted.
honey, let me hold your hand when
Yeah.
I'm yelling at him about him not talking to me the way I think I need to be talked to?
Yes.
Part of my journey was like figuring out what I wanted from him and then doing it for myself, which sounds so wonky and so awkward. And
Yeah.
so when I started realizing, like, these are all the things I'm hoping he'll say to me, these are all the things I wish he would do for me, and I started doing them for
Mhm.
myself after I moved past the this is so weird part, like it's like I felt fed, like
Exactly.
I had my
Right.
meal. Now I'm ready for dessert. Come on.
Right.
So I could
Exactly. And
feed
like
him.
right. And like with the talking to yourself in the mirror and like complimenting yourself, it's like when you go out into the dating world and stuff, like you're thinking those thoughts instead of like you said, like saying things that aren't true about yourself or that aren't helping you.
Yeah. How I don't know how I want to ask this. What do you think that like self-worth, like we kind of talked about this, but specifically your words, like what do you think, how does self-worth play into like relationships, healthy or unhealthy?
I think it's like, I guess maybe almost like a combination with confidence as well, like just believing in yourself and trusting who you are, the decisions that you make, the boundaries that you create for yourself or for people. Well, you create them for yourself. But I think that that self-worth, like knowing that like you don't need validation from anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
I think is important to like have that self-worth in you, like knowing that you are worthy enough just who you are, and understanding like, okay, you're not perfect, that we all learn things about ourselves and it's like a blessing or a lesson is what
Mm-hmm.
I say. And so like I just think that when you're just believing the story and trusting that who you are and being strong in that and like worrying less about what other people think, I think that's really like this starting like points of self growth. Does that make
Mhm.
or self worth? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
So a lot of times I'll hear friends and curvy ladies who like to try on whatever personality they think someone around them wants.
Yes.
And so when you said when you start believing in yourself and you're figuring out who you are,
Mhm.
when you're used to just trying on personalities like you'd try on clothes, how do you suggest people figure out who they are?
I think if it feels like authentic to them, like if they're exhausted by the end of the day of being like this other person,
Mhm.
that's not who you are, or just get like reading the room a lot, and is that the person that you want to create, like you get to decide. And we always evolve as humans. Like I wasn't the same person that I am now that I was 10 years ago, and I'm choosing to create the person that I am today and in the future, So I think to kind of fit, you just have to like just be happy, like that the decisions that you're making are what you want to stick with to be, you just be authentic. And if it doesn't feel right or doesn't like stick right, then or if it's not working and people, you know what I mean? Like you're still like lonely and isolated and not, like not like it just doesn't feel good, then it's not authentic yet.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
like because I think it would be easy to still be like, if you're like reading the room, like, well, what do they want me to be?
Right.
And so, but by the end of the day, if you're constantly doing what other people want you to do, then you're going to be exhausted because it's going to be
Exactly.
an act, it's a show. And
Exactly.
and then the same thing is once you get comfortable with who you are, sometimes you realize like you it's too much effort to be who you want to be with certain people. And so
Right.
sometimes it's time to like change
Get
out
rid of
friends.
people.
Yeah, it's time to
For
find
sure.
friends who accept you
Yeah.
as you
And
are too.
I think that's part of life and part of exact like creating who you are. Like there is a lot of people that I had to get rid of in my life or just choose to separate myself from them because they weren't like on board with the person that I was becoming.
Hmm.
And I that was more authentic to me to become what I wanted instead of staying back and being like, oh well, these are my friends, so I have to hang out with them and do this. Like it's okay, they can be who they are and it's great,
Hmm.
but you're on a different path right now, and that's fine too because you're going to find your people over here,
Yeah.
so like being willing to understand that and see that is, I think, a good thing to realize as well.
I had a friend growing up all through school, and she was a curvy girl and had like lack of self confidence. And
Yeah.
so, um, watching her struggle, kind of, I started having thoughts of my own, like the only because I was a curvy girl,
Hmm.
and it was different for me. And I would think like only like, and this is going to sound so crass, so just brace yourself,
No, you're good.
but like only toe lickers like curvy girls or
Oh,
only,
yeah.
whatever. And like it was almost like a kink, not a just a normal relationship.
Right.
But that was who she was attracting because
Mhm.
of like some low self-confidence and who
Right.
it was
Yes.
sometimes it was easy to be around people like that instead of be around people who made her feel good and made her,
Yes.
yeah.
And I think that that's like a lot of what I did when I said I was dating desperately was
Hmm.
like I was just going out to date anybody and that didn't feel good or didn't feel like, I was dating down
Hmm.
because I needed the validation that somebody was interested or wanted me when
Hmm.
they don't, anyways. And they might, but like it was just a date, you know what I mean? And um so I would date down, like if you're swiping left and right, and I would see somebody and I think that they're perfect and amazing, but I'm like, oh no, he's too hot. He would never love me or like me. So I'm going to swipe left. It's like,
Hmm.
why? Just swipe right. If you talk, then you talk. And if you don't, then you don't. Like,
Yeah.
what are you losing? And like, why are you just allowing that person to like judge you that they've never even seen you in your life?
Right.
So it's like, just go for it. Like you're worth whatever it is that you want, you just go after it. So I think dating down is something that we kind of do and we don't realize it because we don't think that we are worth it, that we're worth what we want.
Right. While you were talking, I was remembering, in coaching school, they talked to us about this term called emotional responsibility and how
Mm-hmm.
you take responsibility for your emotions, but you
Yes.
also like gift that to other people too. So, like when we were talking about how maybe you weren't being honest on your profile,
Mm-hmm.
you're not allowing that other person to be responsible for themselves either, because you're not even coming accurately and presenting a truthful front. And
Right.
so like if you said dating down is what made me remember it. And so like assuming someone's not going to want you a certain way, you're not even allowing them to have that emotional responsibility or the choice to make
Right.
it either
Yeah.
way. When you take, like, I'm not going to put myself out there. Well, you have no idea what they're going to say because you didn't,
Right.
or
Like,
lying about, what your body size is.
right.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
might have
And
been okay with, they might have even preferred,
right, exactly. Or maybe that's not even something that they care about. Maybe
yeah.
they do care about your personality and who you are and what you do, and and they have a range of body type preferences. Like it's just not a preference for them to have to like a specific body type. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that I think it's just people pleasing, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just assuming that, oh, this person like will be happier with somebody else. Well, why am I assuming that? Like, how do I know
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
When I first started losing weight, I became very, and I mean, it's like this with everybody. If you buy a new car, you're looking at everybody who owns the same car as you, right?
Mhm,
And so, like, as I was losing weight, I was looking at everybody's body type
mhm.
because I realized really quickly I have no idea how much people weigh because everybody's body shape is so different.
Yes.
Their body type is so different. And so I was very aware of that. And then in the beginning, it was so hard because I would have thoughts like, girl, you should be losing weight. That's too
Mhm.
much. But that's all of my thoughts I had about myself. I was
Right.
putting on another person.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so, like, I sometimes would even like in like relationships, I would be like, well, that is a big old curvy girl. How did she get that hot guy?
Yeah.
But those were all thoughts in my head about myself.
Right.
And so it took a hot minute to start looking at like, and it was easier for me to accept body shapes and dating relationships of other people than it would have been for myself. Like, no, like I'm still not good enough until I'm here.
Right.
But like I did not like how I was talking in my head about
Mhm.
other people's body sizes or things like
Right.
that. And so
Yeah.
when I realized like that was just like my thoughts about myself,
Mhm.
I started making sure that whenever something like that would pop up, I mean, and the people had no idea what my insecurities were that I was
Right.
projecting onto them. But like
Yeah.
in my own head, I would like, I've got to like, I'm going to find something that's beautiful with them, or I'm going to normalize their body or their relationship or whatever it is. And as I started doing some of that outside of me,
You
all of
start
that carried in inside.
Yeah, I think I did the same thing. I think that was a very natural thing that I would do as well, as far as like I had somebody I was working with, and she was a curvy girl, and throughout our time, like she like came to work, got married, like had this boyfriend, whatever, and I'm just like, like like all of like, how come she got away right and blah, blah, and like putting her down, but it's like, why am I wasting so much energy on somebody? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
focus on myself, focus what I want, like stay in my lane, and they have their own relationship and their own like just things that they like about each other and whatever, and what they are willing to date or not date, or it's just their own business and not mine. So I just needed to stay in my lane and not even worry about it. And I just
Well,
the comparison was like I ended up realizing, like, why am I comparing myself, and like I'm being a mean girl and
mhm.
putting somebody else
That's how
down.
I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when you're comparing yourself, you're only seeing whatever split moment they want you to see, whether it's social media or, like how you're in relationships. So, like, how many times have you been like arguing and then you get to someone's house and you're like, sweet. And like, then you leave
Yes.
again and you're still ticked off at them. And it's like they didn't see the car ride to get you there. And then, like, the last, dig before you got out of the car. Like they just see like,
Yes.
oh, we're so sweet, we're so happy and fun. And like
Yes.
people need to remember, like whatever you're looking at, you don't see the whole picture.
The whole picture. No. Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like if you're at a party or something or a get together and so then they say something and you're like, I hate you for that. As soon as you get in the car, like, what were you saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same
Yes,
thing.
absolutely. Oh goodness. Um, I had wrote a bunch of questions because I was excited to talk with you. So I didn't want my brain to stop working whenever I got put on the spot, you know?
Right.
All right. Um, what advice would you have? That's where I want to go. What advice would you have for someone who may be struggling right now with their self-worth and confidence in the context of some type of relationship, whether they're in one or looking for one?
Okay. Ask me one more time. Sorry.
I know my brain just squirrels off to it. When people understand me, I'm always impressed because that means you weren't just listening to what I said. It was all the things I wasn't saying too. What advice would you have for listeners that may be struggling with their self-worth and their confidence in that context of like a relationship?
Yeah. Well, I just think that like we were just talking about when we're having all these thoughts about other people, it's really like what we are thinking about ourselves and we just don't realize it. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think like whether or not you're in a relationship or not, or whether what kind of relationship that you're like dating or a serious relationship or anything, I just think just like taking a look at yourself, feeling authentic, like you know being understanding that you're not perfect and you make mistakes like in your relationship or you might say things wrong or whatever, they don't feel good, like it's okay to be able to like recover from that and just understanding that you're just not like that, it's okay, and how like can you make another decision to do better and learn from it. So I think that that really helps improve that confidence and that self-worth because you're just slowly like learning from yourself and becoming who you are. And when you're in a relationship, that communication that you have with somebody is so important to, like you said, like the partner that you're with, you should be able to be the most vulnerable and open to.
Mm-hmm.
So having that like intimacy of those communications and like talking about that vulnerability and stuff, I think that you get like a certain support. And I think that helps like with a little bit of validation, right? Like to know that you're human and like and doing better.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah.
I so I I definitely love your Instagram. And it's so fun because it's a little business, it's a little relationships, it's just
Yeah.
fun, like stuff for you. So it was fun to get to see all of it. And you have exactly what shape your body is.
Yeah.
And some photos, definitely appear slimmer and other ones a little hippier. And like,
Yeah.
it's just you. And it's not like a collection of only photos from the
Right. Top up. Yeah.
top up or just the best angles, and so you have a
Yes.
little bit of everything in there, and so I love that. If you and I know that you have a profile, so we'll talk about that, but
Yes.
um that and even like I saw some things on there about kind of like a 4 dates in 4 weeks
Oh
challenge
yeah.
kind of
Right.
thing. And so
Yeah.
like someone is like, okay, I want to date and I want to do it deliberately, not
Yes.
date down or whatever,
Yeah.
what would be their steps?
So I think just like creating like I think kind of like okay, like I've been talking about checklists and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Checklist is kind of like just a bubble, but it doesn't have to be exact. Like it's kind of garbage at the same time. Like you need to like, like roll it up and throw it away
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. But I think it's just like a suggestion of things that you want. When I say that is because I had all these things that I wanted and then I met my boyfriend and he didn't have a lot of those things, but he had a lot of things that I didn't even know that I needed or wanted or expect. Like it was amazing. Like
Mhm.
I didn't put on my checklist have somebody that remembers what you were talking about and asks you about your day the next day. Like
Mhm.
it actually thinks about you and, is like paying attention to what you do and what you like and little things like that. Like that wasn't on my list. I was like, oh, well, he has to have a job and a degree and this and a house and whatever, and it's like, no, I don't. You don't have to have that. So like, um, I would think like just first of all, just having like some solid structure of what you kind of want, like what you're looking for, what are like the deal breakers and what aren't, like, and being open when you go do meet people, um, seeing if like there are some new things that you might like and enjoy about people. Like if they don't meet like a list of something, it's okay. Like they might have some qualities that you weren't expecting to like, and that's what you're learning. And that little checklist, is being like modified all the time. But I also think like being while you're creating that checklist, you create like your boundaries, what you're willing to date or who like things that you're like willing to accept and things that you aren't, and like what kind of relationship that you don't want. Like I knew it was important for me, like through my own experiences, dating somebody that didn't manage their mental health was
Mhm.
just like a deal breaker. Like if like you just were sporadic and erratic and wouldn't like acknowledge that you've got some, work to do, or you know what I mean? Like it's okay. And when it was all mismanaged, that was just something that I couldn't date because it just wasn't safe for me. So it was a boundary for me that I just did not want to cross.
So does that
And
mean like you went to a date and are you seeing a counselor, a therapist, or some kind of professional?
well, I mean, it
Or
wasn't
like what does that
necessarily
mean?
like you have to see a seat somebody, but like I dated somebody who like their father died like when we started dating, and it like tore his whole life apart. Like it was over. And his mom had some issues in her life, and she had, she needed some work too. And I just stuck with this like, relationship because I thought I need to be supportive and this is what I do. And and I'm working so hard to make somebody else happy, to like have them feel better about their father passing and their mom being insane. And it's like, why am I doing all the work?
Yeah.
You
So
know
you
what I
wanted
mean?
someone that was emotionally responsible.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, and it was just like, I need somebody in touch with, their feelings
Mhm.
and their emotions and can like redirect themselves and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
sometimes you would go on a date and it might take a couple dates and you would know, I would notice that and be like, this is not for me. So that was a big solid no, you know?
Yeah.
So back to like how you get started. So I think that, finding those things, and sometimes you discover that as you're dating,
Mhm.
not being afraid to go out and date and finding what like listening to the feedback that you get. If you know what I mean, like don't take
Mhm.
it personally if somebody's not interested. If they
Yeah.
ghost you, they ghost you. You don't need closure. You don't know them.
Mhm.
Just keep moving and like don't take it personally, because somebody that isn't interested in you isn't about you. It's just about them. And
Mhm.
so not taking it so personally, not thinking that every single first date is the like the husband, like your future husband. Like it's just a date. It's two people that go and meet and they see if they have things that are in common. Like that's all it is a conversation with somebody, and you see if you like are interested enough in going to see them again or not. you know
So it's not an interview for marriage, it's an interview for a possibility of a next date.
Yeah, exactly. And so not really just like don't take it so seriously as far
Mhm.
as like that first meetup. You're like, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay if you're not, because you're not interested in people sometimes too. So why wouldn't it not be okay for somebody to not be interested in you?
Mhm.
So I think just like having this umbrella of things that you're interested in, like your yeses and your nos, being authentic with yourself the entire time and showing up who you are and being unapologetic, about it, I think is just really important. And not taking that like that feedback so seriously. And it's like like that was part of my 4 dates in 4 weeks. Like when I was telling the people in the challenge about the 4 dates, I was like, the whole point about the 4 dates, like, first, it's not a competition. If you don't get 4 dates, it's fine, whatever, right?
Mhm.
But if you go on the date, like, you're just practicing, like, having conversations with people, creating,
Yeah.
like meaningful experiences, like learning what you like and you don't like. It's a conversation, it's teaching you how to accept saying yes, how to say no if you're not interested and say that confidently, and not say yes to a date even though you know it's not going to work out. It's a waste of your time and it's a waste of their time.
Yeah.
So, like, being confident about all of those things. And it's like going on the date is just practicing. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
to when you find that man of your dreams, or that person of your dreams, that like you have all this practice. Does that make sense? Like, it's okay. It's all like
Yeah.
gonna evolve into the when you see that one person, it's gonna be, oh, this is perfect. This is all the work that I've been doing and it's worth it. you know?
I've heard about like job interviews where
Yeah.
people go interview at jobs they don't even want because it takes all the pressure off and
And
it's
they
just to have that experience.
yes.
And so like dating is one of those ones where like you are working with someone else's feelings. So like if
Mhm.
I'm thinking in my head, like do that with care. Like
Yes,
like
absolutely.
but some practice dates where there's no expectation and
Right.
it's
Well,
just
I think,
something
yeah,
fun
like
and
taking the temperature down on the date and just
yeah,
being like, the date is going to have a conversation with somebody where, like, you're not necessarily exclusively using them for the practice, but you just don't know how it's going to go. So you go out and see and check it out.
right.
Like, there's no harm in that. And that's part of dating. You check it out. If it's not, what you want, you move on. So I think just taking that temperature like down where you have all these expectations and like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Like, just take a breath. You're just going to go talk to somebody.
Hmm.
Like, I think that that's a big important thing because I know I would like work myself all up and like, oh my God, I have to do this and I have to wear this and I'm uncomfortable, or and then like you finally go on this date and it's really not a big deal, and like, but say they're not interested, and then I'm way down on myself because I had all of this buildup and
Hmm.
excitement, and it's like, calm down. It's
Yeah,
just a date.
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So what I'm hearing is you are not all like your curves are not defining who you are, first of
Right.
all, but yet they're also not something to hide from people.
Right.
You are perfectly worthy and capable with them, or if your body changes, however it changes, you're worthy at all moments
Yes.
to have some, what did you say? Some not check boxes, but like the intentions, some
Yeah.
boundaries of what you're interested in, but be willing to throw them out the window.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's some deal breakers and some not, like things that you're really like into for sure, but there's some things that, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
there's still wonderful person, and like it's okay,
Yeah. And then date with some intention,
Yes.
some deliberate in dating, but also don't hold it too seriously.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so. Other than just, again, just being, and this is for anybody, whether you're dating or not, just like being accepting of who you are and being like, just like I said, your authentic self, and like that working on that confidence. I think that that's it. Just you become like like a person that's just like more serving for yourself and more positive and stuff like that. So just keep in mind the story that you're telling yourself in your head, and you know decide if it's like helpful or not helpful.
Yeah. And one of the first things I do with my clients with weight loss is we work on gratitude, and it's
Yes.
gratitude for things outside of you and then gratitude for yourself because it just changes that mindset.
Yes.
if I said you have to have body positivity and love your body, they're going to look at me like, I don't
No,
even,
yeah.
it's so foreign. I have no idea how to do that. But they can be grateful for their body, even if they don't love every part of it, you know?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
It's work, it doesn't take forever, but it takes work. And I think you always have to kind of like remind yourself that that's okay.
I think it's a decision, like it's
Hmm.
an intentional decision, not
Yeah.
necessarily like work, like it's hard and,
No.
to figure
Yeah.
out. It's just intentionally deciding that your body is exactly fine as it is, even if you want to change something on it. Like
Yes.
you are fine without a partner and you'll be fine with a partner. You are worthy both ways.
Yes. Like I have clients that want to lose weight, and that's fine. Like I can help and coach with weight loss as well. But it's like, why do you want to lose weight? Like what are your whys? Like you're doing it for yourself. You're not like because you like I have to lose weight because that this person will like me. You
Mm-hmm.
need to like yourself.
Yeah.
Like, let's get it together and let's lose weight for us because we are the most important people. And you can still love exactly who you are and you can still want to make a change. And that's okay. It's just, again, the evolution of the person that you want to become.
Right.
And but do it for yourself and not for another reason.
Yeah. I always said like nothing made me wrong to change my hair color, and it
Yeah.
doesn't make me better or worse to change
Mhm.
it. It's just a preference, and I
Yeah.
love that example of the hair color because
That's
there's a
great.
certain amount of maintenance that happens when you're changing your hair color. And
Yeah.
so when you're changing your body, there's a certain amount of maintaining if
Yeah.
that's what you want to. And if it's completely tied to your love of yourself, that value, that worth piece, then if it feels too hard, it's not going to be maintainable. And
Right.
so it has to be just another part of you
Mhm.
that if you're planning on maintaining it. So yeah, I
That's
always
great.
laugh
I
because
love that.
I'm a weight loss coach and I could care less if you ever lose weight. I only want you to lose weight if
Right.
that's what you want to do. But like to me, it's more important to work with you on like why you're overeating in the first place
Yes.
and how to truly love and accept yourself,
Yes.
especially with relationships. It'll be impossible to love and accept someone else if you're not doing it for yourself.
Exactly. And I think that was one of the biggest lessons that I learned about myself. And I actually didn't really learn it until my boyfriend taught me. So it was interesting.
He didn't realize what all he was teaching you, huh?
Right. Yeah.
He just wanted to love you, wrap his arms
Exactly.
around.
Right.
Yeah. So this is so much fun. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, I know you have a little freebie for everybody listening. And then how do they go about finding you?
On Instagram, I am the Curvy Girl Dating Coach, as well on Facebook, and my website is the curvygirldatingcoach.com. I have a few like offers in there, a dating profile checklist, as well as like single, like solo ideas. Like a lot of my favorite activities that I did when I was single, that like either I did at home or did it to go out and enjoy myself. But like it was really the purpose of like appreciating my single life and learning how to be single and love it. So that was kind of the purpose of wanting to share my top 20 favorite single dates for myself.
I saw it. I
And
didn't get it opened though. So what was your favorite
what?
one off the list?
What? I'm sorry.
What was your favorite date off of the list?
Um, I don't know. Like I think if it was an at home one, it would probably be like binge watch my favorite show of wine and charcuterie,
Yeah.
like just nice, like I would just feel fancy, like just getting my wine together and getting my little charcuterie together and, just enjoying a night of binge watching my favorite TV shows. And, I think that that would be one of my favorites as far as being at home. And one about going out, I think it would be traveling. I love traveling by myself because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm exploring so many things. I'm on my own schedule, and um, I get to have those experiences and not wait for somebody. You know what I mean? Like I
Mm.
never wanted to wait to to go travel. You know what I mean? Because it was Like, why am I waiting? Like, I can go see it right now. So that ended up being like a really awesome experience, was traveling by myself.
And then I went ahead and did your profile checklist, and it had some really great information about like what to write and what photos to use and how to create that profile. And then on your link tree on your website, all of that, you have a place that if someone wants to talk to you to schedule a little bit of time, you said that you would help them work through their profile, their dating profile, or how to get them ready to start dating.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so if you download that profile, there's always a link to have access to me to do a call on that. We can create, like, work on your profile. So if you work on it and you create something and you want me to help you out and check it, like, no problem. Just sign up or message me and, tell me what you want and what you're looking for, and we'll schedule it. Like, I answer my messages, so that's totally okay, and we'll come up with something to have like a really great profile. And I think it's important because you get more quality dates. That was the thing that was important for me, when I thought I was being honest and I wasn't being 100% honest, I wasn't getting good dates. And even though the ones that were like, they were fewer and farther between, when I was being like, oh, my exact self, it was like better quality dates.
Mhm.
So I can help you with that.
Well, Christina, thank you. It was fun. I know I said that I'm married, but I mean, there's still so much to take away from it with even just, how to think about relationships and my side of the relationship or my body or all of that together. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for inviting me.